Long-awaited results produce one last internal decision. Sons of Anarchy, Season 6, Episode 11. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry that this review is late, but I've been actually really busy this week from work and other things. Y'all know how life goes. Hey, I'm an adult after all. That's just how it is. And because I actually did see this episode on Wednesday, as I try to usually do, but things happen. Anyways, we move on. Yeah, this is that long-awaited episode. Now, I was not expecting it to go down like this. I just wasn't. By this point in time, hopefully no spoilers. Folks hopefully have seen the episode by now. If you're watching this, man. Yeah. Let me just begin with the episode review and then get to the huge, still big plays. Season winding down, big plays still happening. Gotta love SOA. So, episode starts off with Tara, checking up after the boys, after the kids, and Thomas and Abel. Jax wasn't around, They were safe and everything. It turns out Rat was there. And he says, hold on, no daycare. Jack says, no, none of that anymore. And Tara has to pretty much play it Jax's way because she screwed up. And so she drops them off at TM, Was Gemma there yet? No, Gemma hadn't arrived yet, but she drops them off with Wayne Unser. And I saw one of the, I guess she's an old lady. One of the females there help, take the kid anyway. And Tara's like, I gotta go see my new lawyer and everything. So that works out. And when she saw her lawyer broke down some very factual stuff. The crap that she tried to pull backfired, in connection with her pending case. Not good in divorce hearings. Anyways, custody battles, all that jazz. So her back is relatively against the wall, but she seemed to, get more level-headed, calmed herself, which is excellent. Because, Tara, when she's on point, as she showed later in this episode, she's one of the best characters in SOA. Easily. Now, when Gemma, this episode had some really good stuff. You had Nero talking with forgiveness, in regards to Tara to Gemma. So that was excellent. You had freaking, Unser's speech to Gemma about Gemma potentially raising the kids, if Jax isn't there or Tara isn't there. She's like, being grandma and mom isn't the same. She's like, she's giving some good dollar. But when he brought up this ain't 1967, I listened to that twice or 3 times. I can't remember exactly, but 2 or 3 times I listened to that. That was some huge stuff. Okay, kind of hitting on the hippie thing, but no free love. Things are much more complicated. They say this life isn't all free and stuff. Talking about the biker life anymore. It's getting worse and worse, increasingly worse. You know what I'm saying? So that was huge. I think Nero had another great talk. Nero once again just beasted it in this episode. Nero, man, this whole season, Nero's just been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal. The actor who plays him has done an excellent job, but the character of Nero has just been phenomenal throughout this whole season. And then, moving on, it was a relatively simple episode because they were gearing up and executed the breakout of Clay. And what it was, SOA was the main, Sam Crow was the main operation. Go figure, right? It was, I gotta say this though, before that actual operation, when they rolled in there, from the different points, and they ended up being 10 deep. I went back and I counted them after I initially watched that. Yeah, that was literally one of the coolest moments I've ever seen in any show. One of the coolest moments. It was just beastly. And then, so they go and they meet Colin. I think Colin's his name, if I'm not mistaken. Galen's right hand or whatever. And apparently, because Chibs, Philip, he broke it down. It's like, yeah, he's done this before, because he mentioned he's done this before, because Bobby asked, and he's like, and acting nonchalant. He's like, Chibs is naming a couple of different. He's like, yeah, because Jax was asking, we need 50 cal rounds, and yeah, bulletproof stuff. And anyways, so they had besides calling, they had on another dude alerting them of the leaving of the transport. And apparently, I almost thinking this was going to be like one of them buses, them buses that have the dudes on it. No, it was actually just Clay alone and like an armored vehicle. Like kind of like the Brinks trucks kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And so it was that. It only had, I believe, one car trailing it, and they ran the mess out of that. And doggone, then they broke Clay. They did an excellent manner. Rip to the cop. Cop doing his job. Bro got ran over by Juice. Juice done what it does. And one more that conversation between Jax and Juice, excellent. That was just excellent. Like, there was a lot of excellently done parts in this episode. And so, Bobby takes a slug in the was it the shoulder? It was the shoulder area. Anyways. And so, the officer's dead and everything. And what had happened was the deal that Jax had made or whatever, or at least the information he had dropped, because a couple, Montez and West, they stayed behind at the factory or whatever. And that's where a bunch of cops and whatever were cops, and all of them were there scheduled to take down Galen, but obviously didn't show up. And Montez and West left, and then DA lady Patterson, she's like, yeah, something's not adding up. And then Eli was there. Eli Roosevelt, Lieutenant Eli Roosevelt was also there leading up, and his second hand, the other black cop. They were all there, and she wasn't happy at all. But so they break Clay out, and they take Clay to the hangar, right? Yeah, as soon as they enter, triple execution. Galen and his two dudes. I was like, I just wasn't expecting. Like, it was, the way they did was kind of underwhelming. I'm like, whoa, I was not expecting him to go out like that. Triple execution. Jax, Chibs, and I believe it was Tig. Yeah, because I believe it was only 8 of them that actually, was it 8? I believe it was 8 of them that actually executed the game plan. Let's see, it was Jax, Juice, Bobby, Chibs, Tig. Okay, maybe about 6 of them, 5 or 6 of them. Anyways, so they were there at the hangar, and Clay was there, and Tara, Gemma, and Nero had got called, and they went up there because Tara was called because Bobby, potentially could die here. And the thing I found out is apparently Chibs is some kind of a medic or another, not professional like that, but apparently he was something like a medic. And Tara's like, I gotta, what, y'all think I'm gonna play mom doctor again? But Bobby's life's on the line. She does still have that Hippocratic oath mentality, the healer mentality. So she goes and she says she's gonna need materials or whatever. But yeah, Clay, the way they did this, I was like, what? The way they did it is like he was going up, but then when Jax filled him up, and then Jim was hurt, she couldn't help it. That's straight emotion. Sometimes it's just emotion. There's no, I understand. I mean, whether she hated or loved him, she like Nero said, a large part of her life was with that man, around that man. So that was something. And the way he went out, yeah, neck filled up with lead. Yeah, it had to be done. And did y'all catch when Tara, because when she broke down on the way to the hospital when Jim was there, and Tara, I mean, the way they did, had Jim's face, excellent job. once again. But Tara with the facts and breaking it down, and she said what y'all know what I've been saying on scene. Clay should have been gone. I said at the beginning of the scene, Clay should have been gone. Should have been dead. And Tara said that he should have died and been dead. He should have been killed a long time ago. So that was good. And Nero's, he's questioning whether he should be in or be out. And, you know, him and Jim are having some conversations about, you know, the future and all that and this and that. But at the end of the day, power shifts to Tara because of the slug and everything that was in Bobby. And she's trying to make a deal. So she has to make a decision. Does she give up the club? Because Jax obviously still loves her. You know, that was apparent. Especially when he left the room. Very apparent. And he admits to being sorry for dragging her in this. See, Jax, you know, for all his flaws or situations he's put in, he's not a bad guy. You could say, oh, I'm not talking about morality. Like he said to Juice, you know, you want to be, you know, pretty much viewed as good, get appreciation, which that was some very insightful things. But besides that, he's talking about, you know, we're not talking about morality, you know, the good or right or wrong in that regard. You know, Jax does what he has to do. That's just the life he's let, you know, he has to lead as an outlaw, as a leader of men currently. And it's not always beautiful stuff. But I mean, if Tara wants to replay it, before they got married and everything else, like, got back together, doggone, he killed a man for her. Y'all remember back in, was it season 1 or season 2? He killed a man for her. The dude, the Fed or whatever, that was, you know, or ex-Fed or whatever, that went rogue and was, you know, even though she had a restraining order in her hands and he was stalking her, Jax is doing a lot for Tara as well. So I don't know how this is going to go down. But, you know, overall, to give this a grade, this episode, 8.5 out of 10. It was an outstanding episode of SOA Sons of Anarchy. You know, I don't give it much higher because it was relatively a simple episode, you know, but it had some big plays once again. It's, you know, the season's winding down very well. It was a lot of well-executed parts, but it wasn't, you know, besides the couple big plays, the operation went well, and a couple big parts, you know, the plot progression wasn't too there. We got some more character development and stuff, but it wasn't, you know, not most mind-blowing. It just focused on a few parts, and then we're good. So, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me y'all thoughts on, you know, this episode. You know, the Unexpected Wonder. I obviously liked it. I liked it a lot. You know, it had a lot of good qualities to it. Alright, y'all. Till next time, peace. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night.